So just like math pairs with science, so does technology. So what exactly is technology? Technology is the application of knowledge to real world problems. So this would include methods and processes. One example is called the Bessemer process. This is a cheap method of making steel that was invented in the 1850s. Technology can also include devices like computers and cars. Technology is responsible for major advances in agriculture, transportation, communication, and medicine. And then engineers are professionals in the technology field. So technological design is the development of new technology. And so it's similar to the scientific method in that you have a problem, you research it, you create possible solutions, so that would be like your hypothesis, you test them and select your best one. Something different is that they almost always create models of their solution and then test the models and then again refine and retest those models as needed. Finally, once they get a good product out there, they will communicate their results. So there are limits or constraints on technological design. First, the laws of nature, such as laws of gravity. You are not going to design something that disobeys the law of gravity. Properties of the materials being used. If you need to use a metal, but you need it to be a flexible metal, that would be a constraint. Cost is a constraint, and then ethics, like we talked about a little bit ago. So technology designs must be safe for people as well as the environment. So we had some advances in technology. Technology advances as new materials and processes are invented. So down here we have some technological advances in computers. So in 1946 we had ENIAC computer. This was like other early computers. It was huge. It used vacuum tubes for electrical signals. This made it very large and expensive. It could do just one task at a time and had to be rewired in order to change programs. And in this picture, if you look closely, that's what those women are doing. In 1955, the IRMA computer represented a new computer technology. It was used as transistors, or it used transistors instead of vacuum tubes. It brought the size down and the cost and just made it more efficient overall. In 1968, PDP-8 came around. Again, we had tiny transistors on silicon chips. These were invented. It increased the speed and efficiency of the computers. Again, decreased their size. And this was, in the picture, what was called a mini computer. In 1984, we had Macintosh. This was the next major development in computers. We had a microprocessor now. That consisted of thousands of integrated circuits placed on a tiny silicone chip. And then this allowed computers to be more powerful and smaller. And this was one of the first personal computers. Lastly, pictured here, we have the MacBook Air in 2010. The computers of the 21st century are super small compared to the computers of the mid-1900s. They have increased their problem-solving abilities, and the diversity of software available is immense. So the goal of science is to increase our basic knowledge of the world around us. In order to do that, it is needed to create new technology. So think of the Copernicus needing evidence that the sun was the center of the solar system, but that didn't come along until the new technology showed up. The goal of technology is to use knowledge for practical purposes. And this is needed in order to further science. So example, the microscope, the scientific knowledge of light allowed 17th century lens makers to make the first microscope, which then allowed scientists to see microorganisms and advance science in that way. So science and technology need each other to advance each other. Sonar, seismometers, spectrometer, and vacuum tubes are all examples of how all of these work together. And you can read the definitions here. Lastly, science and technology science, technology and society. Technology looks to solve the problems of society. So the problems of society set the direction of technology. So then technology in turn affects society. So when society has a problem, the engineers of technology create new technology pieces in order to solve these problems.